Hello, this is our presentation for our project, which was a redesign of the Tesla website. Our group is David Dennis and me, Oscar de la Presa. So our motivation for this project was we selected the Tesla website for a rebranding project due to its brand reputation and pioneering work in the electrical vehicles industry. We liked the visual design, the brand consistency, and innovative product lineup. We were excited about this rebranding to fix some transparency issues, accessibility improvements, and information architecture challenges. A little bit of the overview of the Tesla.com website is we found inconsistent style, back button not working as expected, comparison tool not accessible and vague info, price transparency issues, and no walkthrough for inexperienced users. So if we head to the Tesla website, first of all, here we can see the Tesla website, and our project was kind of the scope of our project was related to the vehicles page. Here, if we click vehicles, we see all these vehicles, and for example, if we go to learn here on Model S, we can see they give us this little overview of the Model S, where we can order now. We can see some specs, but if we go to Model 3, we can see it's a little different, and this was kind of like inconsistent and um, kind of not very friendly for the user. Also, when we go to order here in the configuration page, it was kind of tedious to work with. We can see here there's a lot of scrolling. The text is kind of very small and it's hard to like differentiate between things. Things are not consistent in the sense we have here colors, then we have wheels, then we have colors again, then we have the steering wheel, and it's kind of very like all over the place. Here we have a bunch of text. Um, there's like various buttons where you can find like info about like what the accessories do. Um, Here, if we go to feature details, we can find more things. It is also kind of hard for new users. For example, I don't know what the difference between all-wheel drive and plate is, and there's kind of no uh, in the front explanation for it. Also, the pricing is kind of not very upfront. We have like all the pricing here, and it varies with like what you find, but there's also, if you go to pricing details, there's a lot of things included and things that you can change, so it's not very consistent and it's hard for the users. So back to our presentation. Uh, we created some personas to test this website. So this is our first persona, which is Anna Chen. Her goals are to find a vehicle that reflects technological sophistication, understand the latest features and capabilities in details, compare specifications against other premium vehicles. Her pain points were frustrated by marketing speak over technical specification. She couldn't seem to find comparison tools and needs more specifications. This was her task flow. Then we have our second persona. Um, his goals were to understand if an electrical vehicle is practical for his lifestyle, compare costs with traditional vehicles he's familiar with, find a clear, straightforward information about charging and range. His pain points were intimidated by the perception of Tesla as a tech product, doesn't know the difference between options and configurations, and is confused by some of the terminology in the website. This is his user task flow. And finally, our third persona was find an environmentally responsible transportation solution, understand the complete environmental impact of purchases, integrate home energy solutions with transportation. His pain points were overwhelmed by technical specifications, concern about the real environment impact versus marketing claims, and pricing transparencies. And here we have his user task flow. So some of the design priorities, we wanted to solve everyone's pain points, even if it required us to add more features, solve pricing transparency, prioritize accessibility over aesthetics, and refine purchase flow. This was our first design iteration, which we basically was very basic, and we used it like in designs like in Google Sites itself. This was very basic. We did some testing with it, and it was kind of like to have a prototype or basic blueprint of how we wanted to go forward in the other iterations. Here is our second iteration, which we did in Balsamic. Here we can see the comparison page, which we have comparison Model S and Model X, and and then here we have the configuration page. As you can see, it's more coherent. You don't have to scroll out. You can see the different sections bounded together, like payment, color, wheels, pilot, and then the whole design is more minimalistic and simpler. And you have here this little box that kind of explains as you go through some terms that you might not know. And again, this was not the final iteration, but it was kind of like an improvement from the first one, and it was more of a shaped, defined idea of what we are gonna do. And finally, using Figma, we added more detail to our prototype, having like more of an aesthetic, more of a personality, and that was our final dynamic prototype. Some design principles that we included in our redesign were visibility of system status, match between system and real world, user control and freedom, flexibility and efficiency of use, aesthetic and minimalistic design, just a law of grouping, and consistency. These are all designs that we can clearly see in a redefined prototype, and you'll be able to see once we do the demo. And for our user testing and interview result notes, from the various testing that we did, we found that this our new design was more intuitive. It was nicer and more aesthetically pleasing for the users. Users knew what to expect when clicking buttons, and pricing is straightforward without hidden toggles. Some room for feedback was lack of clickable buttons in prototype, lack of a homepage button, comparison tool was too overwhelming for the users. Uh, we There was no navigation between the configuration like sections. Not enough pictures. Um, some button inconsistency and no demo drive page confirmation. To fix this, we added more interactions to our prototype, making sure every button functions. The comparison tool is easier to use and the info is not very overwhelming. Users can now navigate between the configurations. More pictures were added based on the configuration. So if you choose color red, you see the car as red to kind of match what you do. Buttons are more consistent now. We added demo drive confirmation and the homepage button on Tesla to mimic the other websites. Some critical design decisions. We wanted to show as much info as possible in the comparison tool, but it was going to get very cluttered. So we kind of try to compact the info to what users would want or what matters to most users, kind of have an idea of, as a user, what you would want to see in a comparison tool. So we added that. And obviously, we try to make it better than the actual Tesla comparison tool. And now for our live demo.
Okay, so this is our demo of the Tesla.com redesign. Again, what we wanted to fix, it's inconsistent style. The back button doesn't work as expected on the website. The comparison tool is not accessible, and it provides fake info. There's also a price transparency issue, and there's no like walkthrough for inexperienced users. So our design priorities in this redesign were to solve everyone's pain points of the personas we're going to walk through right now and their user journeys. And we wanted to fix those even if it required us to add like more features. We wanted to solve the pricing transparency, refine the purchase flow, and prioritize accessibility over aesthetics. So the first, we're gonna walk through each persona and their pain points and what their user journeys would look like in our new redesign. So first, we're gonna start with someone who wants to use the comparison tool when they're purchasing a new when they're considering a new Tesla. So here we can go to vehicles. After that, we're going to assume they want a Model S. So what they could do to check the comparison tool, oh, okay, I want a Model S, and then they want to compare it to some other vehicles. So you would click the comparison tool here, and then what they need to do is just select the one they want to configure it with, right? So I'm gonna try with Model 3, and here we can see like the same specs for the different types of vehicles that Tesla offers. There's the Tesla Model S dual motor, and then the Model S Plaid, and for the Model 3 we have the rear wheel drive, long range, all wheel drive, and performance. You can see all the range, acceleration, top speed, and starting price. You can also compare it to the Model Y per se. And here we have been color matching with a gradient for the background for aesthetics and ease of like knowing which model you're comparing it to. Okay, so that would be the user journey for one of our personas, which is the comparison tool and the Tesla website. It's very hard to find, and it's not as accessible as this one, and doesn't display as much information and as detailed. For someone, for example, for our second persona, let's say that they are inexperienced with the Tesla website, they're not as a tech savvy person, right? So they want more like a walkthrough for the, and kind of like EV 101, right? So how would this work is you can either order it from here, the Model S, or just go to vehicles and choose whichever one you want. So let's choose Model S again, and we want to configure it, right? Here we can see a new to EVs kind of button, so we can choose that, and it'll give you like an explanation of whatever it's in this section, in the payment, color, wheels, pilot, or charging section, with any explanation of what all of this means, and it will actually help you choose as well. So there's that. We can click all-wheel drive. It's what you expect it to be. Then we go to color. In the Tesla website, this is not how it works. Like you don't have like visibility of system status, which is one of the principles we wanted to emphasize here. The user doesn't know how many steps are left in order to order a vehicle. Here you can order it whenever you want, and the pricing is as transparent as it gets. There's no hidden toggles to save $100 in gas savings, right? So there's that, and we also combined some of the configurations, right? So we apply consistency through all of it. We match between system and the real world, and add a contextual explanation with Tesla-specific terminology. And here in the EV 101, we can see all the pro tips and help you decide on which color to use, right? Okay, so here we can, again, you can skip to any of the separate sections, and the back button just to show it works as well, which it doesn't in the Tesla website. Just takes you back through like different payment, color, wheels, which is not what the user wants, because you can just go to any of them, right? So here we can just choose and just continue with the wheels, for example. Another one of the principles that we wanted to emphasize here is that we grouped items by like their similarity, right? So what we did was the wheels and the steering wheel, we put it in the same like configuration spec, same as you can see with the color, that there was the interior and exterior. The Tesla website, they're actually separate for some reason, so we wanted to make that better somehow. Again, here's the EV101 for someone who is inexperienced. We can choose this one, for example. We can see the interior. Maybe I want these wheels, and then we can go to the pilot section, and basic autopilot, it's what it is, and it tells you what it does. And Tesla website, there's no explanation of what it means for someone who's not as experienced or tech savvy. So we can choose self-driving and maybe the charging one. The mobile charger is included, and here it's the recommendations and the fine print, of course. And then you can just click order now, and I'm gonna get into the third persona here. That maybe you want to it's like the family person who wants to see how their Tesla, their new vehicle, would integrate with the ecosystem, right? If maybe they're looking into solar panels and like power walls from Tesla as well. So what they need to do is just go to the charging section, and there's this button, Tesla ecosystem integration, and it'll explain what you can do: coordinate charging, monitor and manage your vehicles, energy insights in the dashboard, and it's like the integration with all of the ecosystem, which I think is very cool to have, because in the Tesla website, it doesn't tell you what you can do with all of their products that they offer and how they work together. And then we can just order now, and it's as simple as that. We have the create an account, payment, the pricing, what's due today, the performance, this out the specs chosen, right? Then you just click order now, and then you can choose a time and just submit, and you can even add it to your calendar, which is out of the scope for this redesign, but all good. For user testings, they told us that they wanted like a back button to go to the main or landing page, so we added that as well here. You click Tesla, you get back to the landing page. Another user pain point was schedule demo drives, right? So what you can do, it's as easy as it gets, is you have to go to vehicles, and then for as I said, for another one personas, they want a demo drive, just click demo drive. Here you have, and when, so we utilize like a similar screen. When you can choose, I don't know, 3 p.m. and the Gainesville dealer. Here will be the where it's located. Then just click submit. You have your confirmation, add to calendar, and that's pretty much it from our Tesla redesign on how we solved all of the user pain points. Thank you.